Well, welcome everyone. This is Cinematic Suffering. I'm Jason,
I'm Clay.
and here we are back for another episode in our series here, just to get the stuff out of the front in the beginning here. We go to our YouTube page, subscribe. We might be seeing this on our YouTube page. Discord, join our poor little lonely Discord server,
Be less lonely soon when y'all populate it.
right? And we have Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. So we'll post all those links in whatever we post this on. So I imagine this will be posted everywhere. Even Pornhub will have a copy of this specific review or
Yes,
critique.
which will which will get people all hot and bothered. It'll just push them into an insane, irrational spectrum of arousal, way
would,
more than Verotica itself.
would you say in erotica
Yeah, it
realm
might
of?
in erotica of erotica.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, here's what I just let's just say this up front, and we said it at the beginning of the watch through that we personally love Glenn Danzig's music.
Oh yes.
We are huge fans of Glenn
Yeah.
Danzig.
Still wearing the shirt.
Still wearing the shirt. I
Yeah.
changed mine. I've got the devil.
I
The devil.
clean mine in between. Just
Oh, oh, do you now, Mr.
yes.
Highfalutin?
Mr. Hygiene. That's what they call me on these streets. Yes.
But yeah, we love Danzig's output over the years, and even though we know his persona can be somewhat grating, that it still doesn't put us off to the music that he's made and the art he has created over the years.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Again, we mentioned it on our Patreon, but as someone that loves heavy metal and loves underground comic books, you got to at least appreciate Glenn Danzig a little bit. I mean, for dudes that came up when we did, listening to metal, the guy was just iconic. Still is. He still is.
Yeah,
He's the internet has wanted to make him into a farce over the years, but I love me some Glenn Danzig.
the good old kitty buying meme where he's walking out with this kitty litter. I'm like,
Yeah, this
the man has a cat. He has to supplies. Just take care of his pets.
Yeah, I've heard Jameson Land, formerly of Guar, has a pretty funny story online about him
Okay.
shutting down the tour bus because there was a kitten involved
Oh,
somehow.
okay.
Yeah, the guy loves his pets, which is kind of an endearing quality.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You can't blame him for that. So, but have you read any of his books, his comics?
Oh yeah. I used to read Verotic all the time. And he was involved in the creative end of that to different degrees. He worked with a lot of guest writers and artists, but he worked with some of the best artists in the biz. Like this if you like gory, overtly sexual stuff, his output was pretty cool over the years when it
Right.
comes to Verotic.
Yeah, I haven't even seen. I knew he had drawn or was involved with the comic series, but I'd never actually picked it up or bothered to look
They're
at it.
they're kind of hard to find now. I looked around on Amazon. I couldn't find a whole lot because this whole thing sparked a kind of a resurgent interest in
Yeah.
Danzig for me.
Oh yeah, yeah. I could see that. When and I remember when you first mentioned, excuse me, when you first mentioned watching this movie, Veronica. I'm coming in with I had not seen the theatrical trailer. I did not know anything about it. I had heard some bad takes on it before. It was awful, and but us as being connoisseurs of horrible movies, I'm like, how bad could it be? Because we've seen some shit.
Oh my God, yeah. And I would say, I'd say we've watched some worse stuff. There's worse stuff out there. I can see why this one got panned. I mean, the thing that I love about bad movies that are accidentally great works of art is the lack of self awareness. That it's got to have an earnestness to it. Like it's got to be what's the word? Creatively honest in a way, and I think Verotica achieves that. I don't think that Glenn Danzig was trying to make a comedy.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask your opinion on if he was even self aware of what was going on, what he was doing. Um,
I don't believe that he was. This is going to change the
so
lighting.
if you can say if you can compare the Veronica comics to what he did with the movie, are the short stories or the stories in his comics similar?
Somewhat. Like, there was, like I said, he worked with a lot of writers and stuff. So he didn't. It's not like he penned all the stuff in the Verotic comics. He had a lot of creative help with those.
Right.
This actually, there was. This is not the first. This is the first. I believe this is the first thing, the first full feature that Glenn Danzig um, directed. But this isn't the first time the Verotic work has been adapted in some form. Grub Girl has been
Oh.
adapted, which Grub Girl was that was a straight out adult movie. It's the only way
Oh.
they could even adapt that. And I mean, I saw a little bit of it. It's. I think that the DVD skipped. I couldn't even,
Let's see.
I, I
Let me look up Grub Girl. Grub
yeah.
Girl.
Make sure you're not on the office computer.
Oh, no, no. Let's see, Grub Girl. I'm just gonna see if there's like a theatrical preview.
I doubt that they could even show. Like, I mean, it's a straight up porn movie.
Yeah, there's nothing on YouTube at least for it. So,
So that
I
was one, but the other was called Header, which was it had its moments. It was pretty bad. It was a pretty bad movie, but shoot, I don't even know if we can really discuss the premise of Header on this one. Well, look it up for yourself. It was, if you're into some dark humor, that had its
okay,
moments. That was one of those things where I'm sure you've seen all of the Human Centipede movies.
all except 3. I haven't seen the 3rd one.
Okay, all right. Well, the third one, like, remember the German guy in the second one? He was,
Yeah.
and he was featured a prominent role in the third one. The lead character in in Header kind of reminded me of him in the fact that they just let him eat up scenery.
Oh, okay.
Just the old man in that was hilarious and delightful, but the surrounding movie was almost unwatchable. So
Yeah, I haven't even heard of that. It's something I'll need to look up as well.
has its moments, but
Yeah, but Verotica. Where do we start? Where do we even start with this fucking thing?
well, it's
Uh,
I'll start from the top. It was came out in 2019. It's a 3 chapter horror anthology. It was written by Glenn Danzig. It was directed by Glenn Danzig. It was scored by Glenn Danzig. Glenn Danzig edited it. The cinematography was by Glenn Danzig. He did the catering, was provided by Glenn Danzig, and it was filmed on location on Glenn Danzig's chest. Was actually the set. I joke, but it's an auteur film. It was a Glenn Danzig joint, top to bottom. So it's 3 stories, 3 story anthology. Inspired by movies like Trilogy of Terror, and you can see the obvious visual inspiration of some of the Italian maestros.
yeah, yeah. I saw him, especially the first uh, story. I guess we went on, if you want to call it that. Definitely had some Argento vibes about it.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, just starting out, it starts off with some pointless scene of a woman being tortured by some kind of demon woman, and then the demon woman turns and looks at us and says, "Hi, welcome to Verotica.
yeah, she's like
Come
the
on
crypt
in."
keeper.
Yeah,
Morella is like the crypt keeper character in this story, but she's half naked. There's a heck of a lot of nudity in this one.
there is a lot of nudity, and I'm not going to complain about that at
No,
all.
it's fine.
And yeah, so we jump into the first story of this, and it boggles the mind sometimes
It's
because
hard to describe. It flummoxes you because it's kind of, there's a what are we watching, and what is the narrative goal here,
yeah.
quality to the story.
And why were some creative choices made for certain things? Like, say, hey, let's just have everyone on a fake French accent
Yeah,
and
well,
make it like it all
takes
takes
place in
place
France.
France, right?
Sure.
And I just had to go and look, just to do my IMDb crawl of the actors in here. None of them are French. None of them are.
No.
They're all from the U.S. Mostly from the porn industry, and I guess for the porn industry, and actually these people are very talented actors in their own right, in one certain part of the cinematography field or whatever we're thinking about here, but. But they and they put on French accents, and for again, for what they do, they didn't do it too that bad of a job.
It's all over the place. Like
Yeah.
people, like some of the characters, their French accent dips and just
Mhm.
vanishes at times.
Yeah.
I got the feeling as a filmmaker that Glenn Danzig's not a big fan of yelling cut until it's the scene is over in his estimation. Sometimes I think by the time we get to the third act, I don't think he said cut once. I think he was on his phone and the actors were just kind of like kind
I
of
that was a running commentary with us as we watched the movie was, some scenes were just going on for so long that it even looked like the actors were uncomfortable. It looked like they were kinda looking over at the camera saying, "Okay, are we done? Can you say cut?" And it's like, "Nope, nope." And it just everything just fades to black. That's almost every scene, that's how it ends, fades to black.
It's
And
like, you know how a lot of his songs, especially in the early Danzig albums, would just fade out? Like,
yeah.
you just hear that riff played in perpetuity. It's the same ex it's the same exact approach to filmmaking. It just kind of fades away.
And yeah, that was like I said, it was just like this running commentary, running thing, and that's another thing, an artistic choice that I've edited a small movie before, but I knew where I should probably break and where I should stop. And I was telling you that I wanted to do a recut of this
Yeah.
movie. And I have, what we recorded, and I was like, "Oh man, I could cut this up, and it'll take an hour and a half and condense it maybe into 10 minutes
The,
of
the outside director's cut
right,
of
the outside director's cut." And I was thinking of all these cool I was storyboarding them, and then I was just thinking, I'm not gonna be able to post this anywhere because
No.
YouTube will copyright strike like that from immediately. And I was telling you that there was a great edit from, I think, Will Wheaton. I wanna say it was him. If it's not, someone will correct me, but he did a recut of all the prequels and condensed them into one movie.
Oh, I bet that was fun.
Yeah, and from what I heard, it was amazing, and so that's what I wanted to do with Verotika. It's
Like,
like
it's a
that would
great experiment in editing, which is, it kind of it brings up an odd kind of parallel. It's George Lucas, obviously much, like much more established, obviously, of a filmmaker, much more credentials. But he and Glenn Danzig both are two guys that no one within the creative process was saying, no, this is dumb, this makes no sense. Why are we doing this? Like,
can you imagine Glenn Danzig standing over the editors list? Because I think this movie had, like, how many editors?
there was a lot in the
There's,
credits.
like yeah, there's, like, 3 or 4 editors. I'm not gonna look it up right now, but anyways, but I remember, seeing that in the credits going, "Wow, this movie had a lot of editors," and I don't know why it had so many editors because almost every edit was nonsensical, and again, there's fade to blacks, and I imagine just Danzig standing over maybe a professional editor, like, they got some guy who's like, "Yeah, I worked on maybe smaller movies or something," but and he's like, "Okay, hold that scene, just hold it.
Like,
Oh, should
Mr.
we stop
Zig.
here? Mr. Zig, should we stop here? No, it's art. It's artistic. That's how we do it, because
But we've
this
been
is
we've been watching the same butt. Granted, it's a very nice butt, but we've been seeing the same one dancing for about 15 minutes until now. I don't care. I shot it. We're gonna put it in. I bet not a slice of film was wasted on this.
Oh, no, no, I imagine if there is an actual editing and cutting room floor, there is probably nothing on that cutting room floor.
It was just what you absolutely could not use, like the
Right.
boom actually fell into the shot.
People getting bonked on the head by the boom or I mean,
The spider dude's 6 arms all going up to his head.
I mean, you still talking about this editing thing that there's drawn out scenes. The one was the perfect one was the last story where it seems like they just need to pad out some time. I mean, endless scenes of people on horseback in the same scene. Sometimes scenes were used twice or more. It
Yeah, I
felt
get
like.
the. I don't know, what the rule, if there's some kind of rule about movie length before it can be considered a feature. I don't know the movie making biz that well, but it's
I'm pretty sure
And
there is.
it,
Yeah, it has to be like 85 minutes at least or something like that.
do you get the sense, from a lot of the crappy movies that we've watched that they're intentionally padding it out just so that the runtime fits into that parameter?
Absolutely. Even bigger like cult horror films have done that in the past. The Spookies. You remember? Do you ever watch the Spookies?
I know exactly what movie you're talking about. It's one
Yeah.
of the great '80s schlocky monster movies that
Right.
came
And it's totally it's phenomenally absurd. And you can tell things were reshot and thrown in for shit's sake. And that's what was even said, that they just added stuff in because the movie wasn't long enough when they had it.
Yeah, we literally don't have enough material to make a whole movie.
So I don't even think Danzig had enough material to make a whole movie. So that's why he was just like, okay, let's just, in the third story, the Countess Bathory, she's just staring at her hands, staring at her
Like, yeah,
face.
like she's Calgon, take me away, but in blood, and there's just like painful amounts of screen time of this woman, like looking at the exfoliation on her elbows, and just examining her own hands to an absurd level. It's just like, come on, man.
Yeah, it's just like I think we commented on the movie. It's like, look at these things. What do they do?
I mean, there's
Look at
10 of them if you look at
there's
it.
whoa.
Just absurdity, total absurdity. And that story in particular, it went absolutely nowhere. There was no plot, literally no plot. It was just kind of an Elizabeth Bathory thing. She gets virgins and she bathes in their blood. It's like, okay, and that's it. What I
That
described is what happens.
that's literally what happens. There was no ending to that. It just faded out and went to back to Morel,
Yeah.
and she said goodbye, and so did we, and it
we
just
saw we saw her bodacious breast one more time, which is fine.
I mean,
I
that's a
mean,
great way to end it. I mean,
yeah, it's like, it kind of like, that's the high point for Glenn Danzig. That's probably another reason why the strip club scene went on so long. I
I was just
wasn't
about to
ready
bring
to
that up.
complain as much then.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. That another example of those long extended scenes is just that the strip club. And
Yeah,
I think we saw the mysterious woman flitting around on the stage like Darkman, and
like her dance was
her
just
dance was just like flapping
flounder.
her flapping her little cape around. And then
Her,
she the whole thing about that second movie was, I mean, it was just absurd in the first place. I
yeah,
want your face.
it's a woman with apparently an allegedly deformed or mangled face. But it's not that bad. Like, I mean, this may not be the best admission in the world, but I've gotten lap dances from people that had a worse complexion than her, so it definitely
We
didn't.
we we've all been to the strip bar by the underpass at 2 p.m. on a
Oh
Tuesday.
yeah, I mean, beer and lighting will help you no end. You don't need you don't need to cut off faces. It was and that whole second act was just this woman going around to various, like, attractive women and cutting their face off so that she could have their face, and she just had them stapled to her wall. Just, it's like, ooh, they'd get all crusty. There's no moisturizing routine involved in this face cutting ritual.
I was just happy that at least she asked first before taking the faces. She's like, well, I mean,
Yeah,
ask, telling,
people
give.
crazily said no.
I know, isn't that weird? It's
Greedy.
just what was the oh, I was just thinking of the first act when the spider dude said, this girl says, let me fuck you in the ass, and she's like, no. Well, then I want to hear the snap of your neck. Oh, can I change my decision real quick? I don't
Yeah.
mind the ass thing so much now.
It starts off just inexplicable and baffling right from the beginning. We get this, like, it starts off with this woman making out with this dude, and then she's blowing him, and then he's trying to get under her shirt. And she's like, no, no. All of a sudden, she's acting kind of prudish. And finally, he gets her shirt up, and she's got eyeballs for nipples.
Yeah.
It's never explained why
Nope.
or how. And then he's out of there. Like, "Ah, I can't deal with this." You know, most of us would be like,
Wasn't
"I'm
meant
going to
anyway.
power through." Like,
Yeah,
this is a Hieronymus Bosch nightmare. But I mean, not like my erection says that we're still going forward with it. And then her breast nipples cry, and it lands on some white spider, and then the white spider turns into a six-armed dude, and it's just bad. It's like you can tell that it's
uh,
obvious that that only two of the arms are actually arms, and the
yeah.
other two are just these
I thought,
static.
I mean, I was trying to put some meaning into this first part because I was like, okay, maybe they're trying to say something. We see this poorly CGI'd white spider, and it's crawling around beforehand, and I think, oh, once you see a tear fall out of one of her boobs, it's like a
Yeah,
little white tear. I guess it's a milk
yeah,
tear, and it drops on the spider and grows up into this big 8-armed dude. And I thought, "Oh, this is gonna be like her defender,"
right.
he's just gonna rip people apart because he's gonna be extremely jealous or something, just kinda like overprotective, which I thought would, in my opinion, might have been a better story
If I had written it.
if I had written it, but there but no, that wasn't it. In fact, we had a hard time comprehending what he was doing or why he was doing anything and
His
how.
victims made no sense. Like,
No.
he just went after her friend, who's just, oh, I mean, she was annoying, but I don't think that that's. You see in the trailer, the one that's getting manhandled by the spider, the white spider dude, he goes after her, and then unless he kills a bunch of other random people. It's one of those movies that will make you. It's there's an intoxicating quality about it, and then I think back, I'm like, I was sober as a judge when I watched that.
We
Like, why
were,
do I
we
feel
were.
like why do I feel like I was like just totally hammered when I was watching that movie? It's like a dream or something. It's really not that might be giving it more credit than it deserves.
Yeah, it felt like a fever dream. I had COVID a while back,
Yeah,
and yeah,
maybe you were still hallucinating from
it felt like it
the.
there for a second there, where it's like, "Oh, this is I think I need to go take some ibuprofen or something."
I need some vitamin C after watching some Verotica.
And a tetanus shot.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
but yeah, this
yeah.
first one, the first one and the girl and I was gonna again, this is stuff I may edit later in whatever we see when it comes out, but
Yeah.
just an edit of this girl, the lead, and
Uh-huh.
her delivery of certain dialogue, pieces of dialogue. No being my favorite because eventually she's just like, "No,
Yeah.
no, no, no," and I just want to get a cut of her just saying no when they do.
Which she's one of the probably multiple adult actors that are in this feature.
Yeah, yeah. After we watched it, I did have to do a deep dive because I did recognize one of them, and I was like, "Hey, that
No
girl does
shame.
porn." Yeah, no
I
shame.
might have chanced onto some pornography on my various.
So, of course, I had to go and look it up on IMDb, and yeah, probably half of the actors, probably more because they may be going under pseudonyms, but,
She is her well, who knows what her real name is. She goes under what was her name like in the
let's go on Pornhub
movie?
real quick.
Yeah,
Boom,
clickety click.
boom. Oh, no, that's
Ashley
Pornhub.
Wisdom is the name she used for Verotica, but I think that her adult actor name is something like Rochelle something or other.
Okay.
I don't know. I found videos of her. It's real easy on Pornhub.
Yeah, I mean like, I have nothing against using pornographic actors. They're very
No,
well trained in whatever they do, and they do a great job at it. Um,
she's a better performer in one genre than the other, and I'll let you do your own research to figure out which one you prefer her in. But uh, I know we're all over the place, but it is really an inexplicable movie. I mean, people compared it to The Room, which is
mhm.
in the bad movie. In the bad movie context, that's a high bar if you want to
Yeah,
use
yeah,
that
because The
kind
Room
of.
is kind of like yeah, of the bad the best of the worst, as,
Right. It's
Red
a
Letter Media would
Citizen
say.
Citizen Kane of bad movies.
Right.
Veronica doesn't quite reach those heights, but there are some goofy decisions.
Yeah,
artistically and narratively.
a lot of odd decisions, and you mentioned The Room that, I do they even do screenings of this? I have a hard time thinking I would go like The Room, when I first saw it, I was angry at it because I never heard of it before, and then when I saw it, I was like, "This is absurd." Like, nothing made
Yeah,
sense, the way it was filmed, the dialogue, the acting, and I was upset, but there was something about it that intrigued me enough that I actually went and bought the DVD
yeah.
and watched it again, and watched it again, and then I've seen The Room several times. Verotica, I have no desire to see
No,
this
I
again.
I got it. Yeah, one viewing is good for Veronica. It might be kind of a sad admission, but I've got 2 copies of The Room because my first DVD skipped, and Tommy Wiseau is, like, vehemently will not let allow it on streaming, so you
Oh, okay.
have to get it on DVD. He's an odd
It was
man.
on YouTube for a while, and that's where I watched it, was on
Probably,
YouTube.
I'm sure he got it swatted down.
That was, like, in 2010 or 2011, though, so it was been a while, but
There's a great Djibouti dubs of it. They
okay.
they they make fun of it, and it's one of those things where they don't show the whole movie, but you get
Right.
enough of it. That's great.
And, well, I mean,
What
Veronica,
can you say?
what else can we say about this? I think I Danzig's solo stuff, I think his soundtrack is okay, like, his song that he
It's
has in the
not
movie.
bad. It's a little repetitive, but you can make the same criticism for a lot of John Carpenter's classics,
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's some band choices he has in here that especially during the stripper scene where we have to
Terrible.
listen to the entire song while they're dancing, and while,
Yeah,
before we said we wouldn't have a problem with that usually, but it just went on so long, it's like, then I was thinking, "Oh, he just wants to fit this entire song into the movie just for,
it's
I don't know,
it's
promotional purposes."
probably his nephew's band or
Yeah.
something. Like a just, and not that this film adheres to any kind of premise of reality, but it's the kind of music you would never hear in a strip club. Just
Oh, no.
nothing danceable about any of
I mean, you
the
may hear
tracks.
an actual Danzig song
There's
in the
one of the
strip
songs
club.
in there. It's a good
Yeah.
song.
Well, I mean, it's like you look back on his old stuff, you hear, like, She Rides or,
Yeah, it'd be a
Twist
lot
Twist
more.
Twist the
You know,
Cane, I've heard those in strip bars before, and
yeah.
they're perfectly suitable, but, yeah, a lot of this stuff was just, yeah, it felt like you're right, like, "Oh, I'm gonna put my nephew's band in here."
These kids deserve a break, and this is it. Like, oh, we haven't gotten a single new download after Verotica came out, Uncle Zig.
Uncle Sig.
It'd be funny if his first name was Dan. His
Yeah,
last
it
name
would be.
was. Yeah, it was. It kind of falls into the into the category of Goblin, that I don't know that either this film or the previous one that we reviewed, which, depending on when you're watching a video, any of these videos could be the first ones that you watch. I don't know that either of them would be fun without friends around to make fun of them. It's almost
Yeah,
like you kind of need company to, but it's fun in that context. I
yeah,
enjoyed watching that third act. As you can tell that he front loaded the movie with the best of the 3 chapters, and there's
yeah.
diminishing returns as the movie goes on.
So would you say what's the first story called?
The Dijet, the
Oh,
spider, the albino spider of
that's right, yeah.
Dijet, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, it's, the albino spider of Djet,
Yeah.
and
Next one was Change of Face, and the
Change
third one is
Drukija.
Verkesia, Contessa of Blood,
Yeah.
and that was the long form, Calgon commercial.
I think, out of all the sequences, maybe Mystery Girl was my favorite, or I mean, I'm saying favorite very in quotation marks here.
A lot of finger quotes
A
on
lot
that
of finger quoting going on. That Mystery Girl was maybe the one that intrigued me a little bit more than the others. The
Yeah,
albino spider of Djet was unintelligible. The Drukija was just this long, extended.
that was definitely my least favorite.
Yeah, that was my least favorite. But what
I,
about
I
you?
like I like the first two okay. There was actually moments when we were doing our commentary where I was like, like for a movie that has some obvious things that you can make fun of, and they're glaring, just some of the most groan worthy accidental comedy dialogue, just bad acting. Some of the lighting wasn't terrible. I mean, Danzig has, I think that he has filmed enough short films and been involved in the art process enough to where he knows how to light something and make it look decent.
Yeah.
It didn't look terrible in spots from considering what it was. If it was, if it was a long form music video, you'd be like, this is pretty cool. You
Yeah,
just have
yeah. No, yeah, that's a great point. The I thought, Dajit was filmed very very well, and I think we may have
wasn't
even
wasn't bad.
commented on it. I say very well in the least sarcastic manner as I can.
He would have been top student in his freshman film class.
Yeah, oh
It
yeah.
would have been the best final for at SCAD for that year.
Oh man. Well, is there anything else to say about Verotica that we haven't said already?
Oh goodness, I don't know. I mean, if you're a fan of Glenn Danzig and you like goofy, inexplicable movies like The Room, give it a shot. Watch it with your friends. If you don't have friends, watch it with us. Go to our Patreon page and you can watch the movie with us making cracks about it the entire time, so you don't feel like such a huge, lonely, pathetic loser. So do that.
I've done that. No, that's a great, yeah, I would say yes.
Plug.
Yeah,
Just
great
a
plug because
shameless
I will
plug.
say that I do that too. I go and watch, I have some people who do reaction videos that I enjoy watching. I'll go and watch them
Yeah.
do the reaction, and it's really funny. But
I bet the best ones of those are the ones where you can tell that they're not overacting for the sake of the camera, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah, a lot of these are just first time seeing these movies, so it's
Yeah.
nice to see, even if it's a movie I've seen, I like to see those. I like to see people watch those for the first time and be amazed by them or be horrified by them, depending
Or
on
yeah, or
what they're
just
watching.
I think that's what I like about what we're doing is we don't watch the movies ahead of time.
No.
I mean, we could probably come up with some more timely jokes that are a little bit punchier if we did, but like I like an honest reaction out of it.
Yeah, I do too. I like the shock of seeing long drawn out scenes that don't end, and the actors getting obviously uncomfortable before the director can shout, "Cut."
It's painful, yeah. It's a real piece of crap, but it's charming in a way too.
It's a charming piece of crap.
Yeah, it is. It's a real polished turd, Veronica.
And, well, I mean, that was Verotica,
Yes,
Glenn
yes, it
Danzig.
was. He's got another movie, which is I forget what it's called again.
Well, I know you said Grub Girl's header, and you said he had
There's a,
that
there's there's a
Western one.
there's a Western one that he put out, which is I'm on IMDb here. Let's see what he's known for. What is he known for? Doesn't list it unless I don't know. I guess I don't know how to work the IMDb.
Let's see, I'm gonna look up, oh, is it Death Rider in the House of
Yeah, that's it.
Vampires?
That's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that one came out in 2021.
Yeah, and that one looks like a real piece of garbage too.
It's got a higher rating than Verotica, though. I mean,
Well,
not by much, but it does look it has nudity.
I hope so.
I'm
It
watching the
better.
theatrical trailer right now, so
It
maybe we
better. I
can.
mean, that's like a Godzilla movie without monsters fighting at some point.
Oh, man. Okay, well, I guess, we can, end this and,
This
say that
in-depth, helpful review. I
uh,
mean, people are gonna. I'm sure people are gonna be like, "So should I watch the damn thing or not?" I don't know. Live your life.
yeah,
Watch it if you want.
I say watch it. It's if you got fucking Shudder on Amazon Prime or whatever, watch it.
Yeah,
But watch it with other people, or you can be very depressed.
I mean, I spent more on the shirt than I did, the movie. So
And I wanted to bring up something from, if I could go back to Goblin,
yeah,
that remember we did our review of it,
yeah.
and I did the review on Amazon. Well, it turns out it's a verified purchase for me.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
So I guess if you have Prime and you do a review of something, you can, uh,
So
Get
this
a
is
be
your
a verified
moment.
purchaser. Yeah.
Wannabe writers, this is your moment. Like go on go on there and just write a review for every movie that you see on Amazon Prime until you gain a readership.
I'm gonna put in a review of Verotica on Amazon, so I will do that off screen. Clay and I will collaborate, and then I'll
Yeah,
film. I'll film it, and it'll be written like a love letter to Glenn Danzig. So
yeah.
she'll.
Hopefully he reads it. My God, I would swoon.
I'll tag it on to the end of this video. But until then, thank you for watching, everyone.
We
Had a good
appreciate it,
time with
y'all.
Verotica. And
Absolutely. And if you're watching our content, we appreciate it. And we're going to be here for a lot more of it. So stick around, check out our video game playthroughs, check out our other reviews, like, subscribe, and thanks for joining us.
thanks, guys. Bye.
Oh, ah.
Ah.